Alright, here's a continuation of my night with the very twacky projections in the strip mall near where I used to have a tent. I'm going to outline some things here that I saw in the trees. It looked a little bit different in person. Keep in mind that this video is meant to be viewed in very dark conditions. Look like Yoshi, but the tree in the middle with the almost looks like it has eyes on top of it. They played the Yoshi sound effect, like Yoshi. So there you go. So I'm going to brighten it up quite a bit on the next frame, or the next series of frames. When I increase like the shadows or the gain or anything in the darker areas, I got these sort of points, and they almost feel like it's like a connect the dots sort of thing, and there's always faces in them. I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, see on the right there, there's a large face there. So some of these are like kind of like connecting the dots, but I find it easier sometimes if I circle these things to see where you could see perhaps faces in them. And again, I don't necessarily think that these are necessarily meant to look like clear faces always, but I think that it's meant to trick the brain's facial recognition or pattern recognition into sort of capturing our attention. Trying something new here, they suggested that I fill in the circles, since that's what they do in real life sometimes. Is they'll when I was looking at the last one, they actually literally filled in sort of like an image burn-in that I talked about earlier, that sort of stays with the eyes with the camera lens when it pans, to see if that sort of helps make it look like it does to me in real life. I think it's pretty obvious that this could be interpreted as sort of like a creature of some kind. Obviously, I don't think there's a creature there. I'm just saying that it's meant to be interpreted that way. I think this one's pretty obvious too. It kind of looks like almost like a cat face or the Cheshire cat. I think this one's pretty obvious. See sort of a series of faces side by side. I almost missed this one, but... And you can also break it down into smaller faces or make larger faces out of it as well, depending on how you look at it. A lot of time when there's a fence, be it chain link or iron, the projections can show up a little bit more clearly because they're, you have like the reflection of the light against the bars or against the wood in the fence. And so here we go. It's almost like, it's creating a wall there, sort of. So here you can kind of see some projections, just like you do always, or just like I do always. Hopefully other people see it too. You can also see where it's in the ground here, and also even in the sky. But I just see this everywhere that I go. But some nights are more twacky than others, and some nights are less, and it just depends. So I'm going to forego the circling and the outlining here because I think it's pretty straightforward where you could make out faces in here. And if you can't, it could be because some of these projections are in my eyes or on the surface of my phone or somewhere in between or in a software overlay that they keep saying that they have. And I'm like, can't do anything about that. All I can do is keep trying to show this shit that I'm seeing. And keep in mind that I don't always see things like this because it's moving so rapidly. It's oftentimes just like a blurry looking thing or a fuzzy looking thing. But oftentimes I do see things, and I think it's because they hold them, you know, they're kept stationary. And oh, there's a little frog thing. They're saying that if you look there, the eyes turn red. So I'm going to play it back the frame before, I believe, and then frame after, and it does look like, they're more red. And I don't know if that was due to like a brake light or reflection. I don't know if that was actually in the projection itself, but it was an interesting place to freeze frame it. And it is something that they pointed out to me, rather than me necessarily noticing it and thinking that there was something important about it. They oftentimes, which is infuriating, point out things in what I'm looking at, either, in a taunting way, or in a way to try to give me information that's misinformation and meant to cause me to go down a paranoia path or where they make me, they do it all the time over Voice of Skull. Right now they've played so many, they play so many different scenarios showing people that I care about or that I thought cared about me, like having their throats slit, being beheaded. And by the way, people should be free to describe those things to friends and family and authorities and like mental health professionals, non professionals, without the fear of that being taken into like to like that's something that they would actually do. I hope that that's certainly not the case, but I haven't always experienced trust in or the enough of a comfort level to always say what these people were saying. But then it was like it's important to hear what they say or to tell what they say because that it could, it could, first of all it's fear mongering, and it's terrorism, and it's traumatizing, and they do this like all throughout the day.
over and over and over again. They also pretend like they're being captured, but they also pretend like they're not being captured, and they're like capturing the world's attention while they're holding me hostage, as if like, and that everyone knows where they are, and they keep mentioning people in my life like from past fictional narratives that may have truths in them or may not. It's like I have no fucking idea. This whole area is interesting, so instead of circling every single thing, I'm just going to let it pause at each frame or two and let you sort of interpret what you will. So I just want to interject that story here because there's something coming up, and I'm still editing this. But see these
Bunch
two
of cops
dots right
get
here
out
that are lens
around
flares
that
or
intersection at
from
Runberg
the camera.
and
See how they
IH-35
come up here and they
near my
almost line
tent.
up exactly with
And
these
there's a
eyes
bunch of
right
cops
here.
like sort of aimlessly
And
walking,
I
not
don't know
aimlessly,
if that's
but
intentional.
walking
I
around
don't know
as if
if
they were
there's
looking
so
for
many
like
eyes all
a
over the
gun that was
place.
thrown.
Anyway,
But again, they weren't looking. They were just
some of
glancing
them,
around,
but
and I don't know
there's
what they
those with
thought
the
they would
eyes
find
flaring
anyway.
lens
Because
flares.